Good evening, Dr. Lamb.
Good evening. What in the world are you doing?
Trying to get ready for the opening of school and running behind a 2-year-old.
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Now you do know the kids are going to show up whether you're ready or not. So there's no need to stress about that. But now 2-year-old, I can't help you with. I can't help you with that. Cannot help you with that.
Yeah, so he thinks he's supposed to attend class.
Oh, he might learn something, or I might learn something.
There he is.
Hey there. How are you? Lord have mercy. Yeah, he's about like this one. See this one right here in the Santa Claus picture right here?
Mm-hmm.
That's Luann Skates, the registrar. You see emails from her all the time. That's her grandson. He's he was about that age when that one was taken a couple Christmases ago.
Woo!
Boy, he's a handful.
I said, can I stop? When can I stop being a grandma?
You can't. Never goes away. Never goes away. I don't have any in that age bracket anymore, thank goodness. Youngest one is, I guess, is Sophie. She's about 8.
I'll be glad when this relief gets to be 5.
Yes, that's what I mean. When you can get them to 5, and then send them off to school, you know, it gets much better after that. And so, see Sierra's. So yeah, but you know, then when they get older, it kind of comes back again when, you know, get to be college age or high school and college, early young adults. It kind of boomerangs back on you.
Why?
Well, because, you know, they start needing things and wanting things. And they remember that you're around then. You know, you're persona non grata during their teen years. But then when they start wanting stuff again, they, you know.
This one wants stuff now.
Yeah.
Hi, Laura.
Hi. How's it going?
And Tanya, I haven't seen Laura in forever.
It's been a hot minute.
Tanya, you ready for round 3?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Ready to go.
Yeah, there go your friend, Miss Laura.
Hey.
You mean to tell me your group did not meet while we were not in school?
What? We chit-chatted, but we didn't meet.
Had a little break.
All right. What time is it? It's not quite time yet.
We're close.
There's Dr. Singh is going to be with us this semester. Dr. Singh's going to be our resident principal expert this semester. Dr. Singh just left the principalship and is now supervising principals, I think. So he's been in it. It's been a day or two since I've been one. I was last principal 22 years ago, and then I supervised principals in one of my jobs, kind of like Dr. Singh. My first job at the central office, I did that, and then on up the line. But it's been a day or two. But he's been doing that recently, so he's going to be our principal, our resident expert this semester. So I'm excited to have him with us. Dr. Singh, welcome. We'll go ahead and kind of get kicked off here. This is Mels 603 in the MSA program. This is the 20, what they now call the MSA 20-month program. You know, we've gone through a title change. It's the same program, still the 5 semesters, everything's good. It was mostly about the add-on people. We're calling them the 12-month people now, so that they could get a master's degree at the end of their journey, just like you folks do. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started tonight. Thank you for all being here. We'll do a few introductions here just in a few minutes, whenever we let everybody kind of get here first. So I'll share my screen and we'll dive right in. If I can get my mouse to work here. There we go. Share screen. Here. All right. So welcome to 603. As I said, I'm Dale M. I'll be your instructor. Y'all all know me. I'm the program coordinator. Dr. Sane, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us what you do now.
All righty. Good evening, everybody. I'm Josh Sane. I'm currently the Director of Academic Support and Learning in Lincoln County Schools. So I oversee principals as they implement all the MTSS, AIG, SEL, and behavioral frameworks within their district, as well as all the student support services. So I'm happy to be here.
And that's a lot of what we'll have. That's a lot of our content. When we do intervention, MTSS, we'll have to do federal programs when we do. So Dr. Sane is going to be our man. He's going to be our expert.
I'll try.
So now that means our coaching model is going to change. I'll do the coaching this semester. You'll put your work here in the shell. I've got the place for you to put your in, and I'll respond same day. Doesn't matter when you put it in. I'll be back to you in just a few minutes. I grade morning and night. So I'll turn your task ring. You know, the OMA, we're going to do the OMA and the skip this semester. So don't panic. We're going to do the OMA and the skip so that you can do the cap in the spring, so that you only have the SOP when you hit the summer, when you finish. It will not bode well for you if you lack both the cap and the SOP when you get to summer. I'll just tell you now, you won't finish on time. And this past summer, we had 92 that got there. Guess how many finished? All 92. It's no man or woman left behind. It's all hands on deck when we get to 605. We're going to get you out on time. We're going to get you in that applicant flow to get that job. But we can't wait till the summer and start worrying about that. So we start, the first 2 semesters, you have one evidence, everything's good. You know the process now, you know how it works. When you get to me, you do 2. We do the OMA and the skip, so that you only have the cap to do in the spring, and you can maybe even get to the SOP in the spring. Wouldn't it be great if you got to 605 and all you had to do is finish your competency folio and those few things in that, and not have an evidence to do? Remember, you only have 8 weeks in the summer, period, for everything to be done. 8. You say, but Dale, it's 10 weeks long. Everything has to, we have a two-week deadline though. Everything has to be done 2 weeks before the end of summer school. That's not our plan. That's the state's plan. It has to be done. That portfolio, we have to put that deadline in. So you got 8 weeks. And so we start this semester preparing for next summer. We can't wait till next summer. That won't work. That ain't a plan. That's hope. We don't, as operationalists, remember, this is our operations semester. We start making plans here. Everything we do, we have a plan. We don't leave anything to chance. So we're going to go ahead and do the OMA and the skip this semester. We're going to knock those out. Trust me, I'll turn the work around. We'll get it knocked out quickly. Syllabus is here. First step, make sure you complete your EVA. Get that tonight. If you haven't, here are our books. If you're having trouble with the books, go to Amazon. That whole Barnes and Noble Bulldog bundle has been a complete disaster. I'm guessing you've seen all those emails. The people that did get books got the wrong ones. They just sent them out randomly. They didn't understand that certain books went to certain courses. I'm not sure that these people have done textbooks before, but I can't worry about that. Find them. They're both available on Amazon. They'll send them to you the next day. Cheaper than what you can get them anyway. If they've already charged you for that Bulldog bundle, fill out that form to get out of it and get your money back. Don't be sitting around waiting on those. We'll meet every Wednesday night now. Excuse me, every Monday night. I'm sorry. Every Monday night. Now, I'm full disclosure. We'll meet at 7 o'clock. We'll be done at 8, except on the 4 case study nights. We will not be done at 8 o'clock. It might be midnight before we get done, but however, how long it takes, that's how we go, because that's your night to shine. That's you, that's not me. Believe it or not, I won't talk. I won't have a lesson, won't have anything that you will present on case study nights. Now, I'll wear you out if they're bad. I'll just full disclosure right now. I'll go ahead and apologize up front. If your case studies are bad, I'm not going to be happy, and I won't be silent about it either. You won't be happy either. So to that end, I would suggest that you cheat. That's what I would suggest. So here's how you cheat. You go to the week that you have your first case study. That would be case study. That'd be Zoom session 6 when case study 1 is due. If I were you, I'd watch that case study from the spring when they did that, and I yelled and screamed them through stuff. If I was you, I'd get a little clue of what the expectation is. And here are all, the directions and all those things. Just come down here to case study 1. Here's your materials, everything you're going to need, the directions, all that stuff. You might want to come up here to the week that it's due. I might have a few little secret goodies for you here under that week. I've got an old video from the spring that might help you. You might want to look at this zero tolerance. You might want to look at some of these things. You might want to look at that video. I don't understand people who come to class and come and do a case study, got all these materials, and they show up with their PowerPoint presentation that their group has done, and it's what they think. I'm going to tell you, just like my position coach told me a long time ago in football when I was an outside linebacker, don't think you're hurting the team. The only thing we need for you to use your head for is to stick it in the tight end's ribs when he comes across the middle. Don't think you're hurting the team. Don't think. We don't think in the law. We know. We have to cite court cases, be relevant. That's what these case studies are about. What is the law? Well, I think it ought to have been this, or I think the principal ought to have done that, or this or that. Don't think. Don't do that. Know the law. Know what you're supposed to do as a school administrator. If you will look at those cheat things that I've got under your week 6, it will tell you what you need to be looking at. And I'll talk more about that later. But we have the first one's going to be on grading. We'll talk next week on about North Carolina General Statute 115C288A, which says the principal grades and classifies students, not teachers. You're going to learn things like that. You're going to learn like no tolerance expulsion, that this teacher has failed this kid for the year over one homework assignment, that she manipulated the grading scale, that one homework assignment she has made count more than 50% of the yearly grade in his class. One homework assignment. You're going to learn things like the most that homework in aggregate can count as 10% according to state law. And she made one assignment count more than half, so she could fail him for the year. That's a zero tolerance expulsion. Is that against the law? Absolutely, it's against the law. It's against federal law. There's several laws that have been broken, state and federal here. You need to know what they are. You need to understand. What has gone on here is completely unacceptable. She's taken a child who's done something as insignificant as turning his brother's homework paper and giving him the most severe punishment that you can give a child, which is a 1-year expulsion or exclusion, without any due process whatsoever. She's violated his 14th and Second Amendment rights. It's a complete disaster. So you need to know those kinds of things. Our second case study will be about Leandro and funding, which is the national funding case. Not only for North Carolina, it's the national case on should we have district power equalizing where we give differing amounts according to what you need, or will we continue with a flat funding formula? Leandro has been a thing in North Carolina since 1994. The first decision came down in 97. Full disclosure, I was on the losing side on the attorney's team for the losing side, by the way. But it gets revisited. I mean, it's been revisited in the last 2 months. Leandro is the gift that's keeping on giving. It's nearly 30 years old now, but it's all about funding. You need to learn about funding. You need to know what the superintendent wants to do. Is it legal or not? Then we're going to have one about a protected class of students. Doesn't matter that they're gay. It could be anything. They're a protected class, and we're going to talk about rights, bullying, and, you know, heckler's veto and all those kinds of things, where we're going to be reminded that our personal feelings aside, that we have to be champions for kids, not champions for teachers. That we have to protect the rights of those students. And then our last one is going to be an all-inclusive one about inclusion and about special services, intervention, MTSS, everything that we've learned so far in the Mels program up to that point, even including this class, we're going to use in that. And so we're going to have a good time with our case studies. They do take longer than an hour. Sorry, I'll just go ahead and tell you that now. And, you know, but on our normal nights, I'll have you out at, you know, 1 hour, 1 hour or less. But those nights, it's your night, and I don't want anybody to not be able to have their time. But when you bring your voice, I want you to have some knowledge behind it. Don't just be opinions. I need for you to understand that just because you think something doesn't make it true. Law only deals with objective truth. Doesn't deal with political truth or personal truth because you think so. That's the way it is. No, that's not the way the law works. You don't want that demonstrated on you. Dr. Sain's job and ours this semester is to get you some knowledge so that you don't lose your house. Because if you get caught in a negligence suit, you know, misfeasance, malfeasance, nonfeasance, if you get caught spending federal money wrong, or you know, you don't misspend federal money but one time. You don't get a second opportunity. State money, sometimes you'll get a second time. Sometimes if it's bad enough, you won't get a second time on state money. But federal money, it's, you know, that's no bueno. You go after the first time. You got to learn that. How we're going to talk about funding sources, funding streams, all those kinds of things. But we're mostly going to talk about making sure that you don't lose your house, that you understand, you know, the standards of negligence, what to do and what not to do. That's the focus on this. And then, but we're going to start with the operational piece of the OMA is how to build a master schedule. That's what the OMA is about. How to build a legal master schedule, a legal one, not just one, with the understanding that whoever builds the master schedule in your building runs your building. Because the master schedule is one of the two cornerstones, that and the budget that has to support that school improvement plan. You know what you did the first 2 semesters in the Mels program. The first one, you did the academic piece where you would do an academic program to improve your school. And then you did the personnel piece where you would have a professional growth plan to improve, you know, the instructional capacity of your faculty. Now you're ready to put all that together, that knowledge together with the budget and performance data and those kinds of things, and start building a master schedule that supports that school improvement plan that you've got started. It doesn't do any good to have a plan if you don't put your teachers in the right places and your classes, and you don't put your budget behind it. So let me share my screen again. And this is a PowerPoint that I use when I go out and work with school districts, teaching their new assistant principals how to do master schedules. And so I did it last in Thomasville cities. And so here's the idea. The school improvement plan is here, and the master schedule and the budget are the foundational pieces that support that school improvement plan. And so these are the things that you'll need for us to get started in the OMA as well. You'll need your report card, your EVOS data or performance data from your school improvement plan, the current one, your master schedule, your duty roster, supervision schedule, your teacher working condition survey data, and your latest accreditation report. You need all these things if we're going to schedule your school. We need to know that. Your latest accreditation report basically is we're going to get the external context, and we'll talk about that in task 1 of the OMA in just a minute. But those are the things that we'll need, because here's our rationale for scheduling our school. Our federal programs have to be first, then our state law, how many days, how many hours, all of those kinds of things, our local policies, then our performance data, then teacher input, in that order. If you get that wrong, you can lose your job. I tell the story. Absolutely a true story. I had to go down to Chinkapin, Seven Springs area. Anybody from down that way, where you're about halfway between Raleigh and Wilmington on 40, you get off on 42 and head toward Topsail, across the state east. You're so far out in the woods, all your GPS will do is just sit and spin. It can't even find where you are. There's no gas stations. Rabbits have to carry a sack of peas with them. It's so poor out in that part of the world. There's nothing to eat. If you have a flat tire, if something goes wrong, you're just not going to be good. I went and they were working on the road, and I had to drive up a man's driveway and through his carport and out the backside of his yard to get to the school. I said all that to say this. This school was out of the way, folks. It was not on the beaten path. So what is the probability that when I get there, that they just randomly selected that school to be doing a Title I audit? It's possible, it's just not probable. It's possible my hair will grow back, it's not probable. It's the same probability that my hair will grow back, that they randomly selected this school to do a Title I audit. I waited 1 hour to see the principal. That wasn't the bad part. I had to go back 2 weeks later to meet the new principal because he got fired. The Title I audit found that he had forgotten the rationale of federal programs come first and gone with number 5. He let the 3rd grade teachers browbeat him into moving 20 kids into the Title I teachers class that were not Title I kids. Title I being a federal program and it pays for those kids, but it only pays for them. And so to balance the load in his master schedule for 3rd grade, he moved 20 kids out of other teachers' rooms and into the Title I teachers' room. And of course, you say, well, how did they know? Well, that very day, I'm sure she just took her cell phone out of her pocket and called DPI and said, I've got 20 kids in my Title I class that aren't Title I kids. And they came hot-footing it down there the next day, I'm quite sure. And he went home later that day. That was the end for him. You don't do those kinds of things intentionally in this spend federal money. And so the rationale for how you schedule a school legally is federal programs come first. That's Title I, CTE, English as second language, gifted, exceptional children, and 504. All of those come first in the master schedule. Then comes your state laws. How many minutes of the day, how many days of the year are you going to do 185 at 6 hours? Or are you going to do 180 at 6 hours and 15 minutes? Those kinds of decisions. That's all your state. That's all your state requirements. I've actually got a link to that in tonight's lesson of what all those things are. And then your local board policies. Are you going to have 120 minutes of reading instruction in elementary? Are you going to have 90? Are you going to have an AB day? Or are you going to have a block? Those are the kinds of things your local board does. They have a set of non-negotiables that we're going to do it this way. And then your performance data. Who should be teaching what, where, and when? Somewhere in your building, there's a whiteboard that people say it doesn't exist, but it does. It's been gridded off. And you put little yellow stickies on who's going to teach what, where, and when. Whose name goes on those stickies? Well, that's your performance data for MEVOS. And then finally comes your teacher input. But if you get that backwards, not a lot we can do for you, because if you get it backwards, you're going to be spending money inappropriately, putting kids in the wrong places, doing things that violate federal or state law. That does not go well. They make you revert the money back, and you have to lose your job as well. The state sometimes it will take the money back, and if they will just demote you or move you somewhere else. That's just like failure to maintain fiscal control. You think that you can delegate the activity of fundraising. We'll talk about that to your PTA. You can delegate the activity, but not the responsibility. If they make off with the money, or if they don't give people what they paid for, then it's on you, and they'll get you for lack of failure to maintain fiscal control, and you'll lose your job or you'll get demoted. One of the, all the scam. How many times you read in the paper where PTA people run off with the money? They embezzle the money. When I went to school in Raleigh, when I was an undergraduate at NC State, you know, the famous joke down in that part of the world is, you know, they have pig pickings. And so they sell a raffle, you know, for pig pickings down in that part of the world. PTAs do it everywhere down there. So the gag down there is that, you know, they made off with they stole the raffle money. The PTA stole the raffle money. So the fellow that won the raffle, they told him the hog died and gave him his $1 back. I'm not sure that really happened, but that's the gag in that part of the world. I mean, we all know that those people make off with the money quite regularly, or things don't go well, or the fruit that the band sold is rotten when it gets here. You can't be out from under any of that stuff. It's all your responsibility by law. Those are the kinds of things that we're going to learn this semester. So let me go back to my share. And so that will be our case studies. We'll deal dealing with those. Our evidence, our first one is about master scheduling. I've got this one that I use with APs to teach them the overall notion of it. Here are the federal programs that I just mentioned. You know, here's the state laws we have to be most concerned about: planning time, duty-free, teacher work days, hours, minutes of instruction. Again, class size limits, highly qualified teacher licensure. We have to be concerned with all these things from the local Board of Education, our EVOS performance data. And then we finally get the teacher input, and it's supposed to be information about students, not I want this and don't want that. And so that's what we're doing this semester through the OMA. All right, so I'll take that one down. And so back to our Zoom session 1 for tonight. I'm reviewing our Blackboard for task stream. This semester, you owe me the OMA and the skip. You'll need to also put artifacts in your competency folio, and I know you know that one. Here's the document that I would refer to, legal requirements for planning and instructional time. If you don't know that one, this is a good one. But again, it was in that PowerPoint I just showed you, which is here. This is a good overview of all of it. I've got an example of the OMA under tonight. And of course, I've got it over here as well under task and prompts. I've got the template. Now the template doesn't have any meat to it. It's just the format, and you put your information in it. Remember, gradual release, you know, the first 2 templates had a lot of stuff in them. This has less. You won't even get a template for the skip. You have to make your own. So these are the things that you do. So let's talk about the OMA. I'm going to catch my breath here, and we're going to go to the OMA. Let's see, where am I? So this is the first of the evidences that we're going to do this semester. So let's go to task 1, prompt 1. And so here we are. The candidate will research and develop an analysis of school context. That's internal and external. So the internal is going to be everything from your, again, back to that PowerPoint. Let's go back to our PowerPoint here. Everything that's on your report card, that's your internal. We need a section on academic achievement. We need one on attendance. We need one on discipline. We need a copy of the master schedule. We need a copy of the school improvement plan. You can just attach those as you know, in your appendices. We need the master schedule, the duty roster, supervision schedule. For those of you who don't know, duty rosters during the day, car duty, bus duty, hall duty, lunch duty, those kinds of things. Supervision schedule is for your after school activities. You need your TWC, we can reference it, and then so those are all internal context. External context is, you know, your school was built in 26, it's in this community, we're looking for the average income, average education. You find that in your accreditation report in the opening section, background of your community. You've already done a background of the setting in both the AppSell and the AppTel. That's probably got most of that stuff already in. But check that accreditation report if you don't have it. So that's your internal and external context that goes in task 1 of the OMA. That's what it should look like, and I've got examples for you. All right, back to this one. The analysis demonstrates an understanding of district, state, and federal law, policy, mandates that regulate structures, rules, and procedure in place for students and staff. That's what all that material is. Analysis includes a critique of current structures, in terms of equity and transparency. You must do an audit for all your exceptional learners and special populations. So that's this slide right here. You say, well, Dale, does that mean EC? That's just part of it. Here are all of your special population programs right here. You got to do an audit on all of those. And what that means is, what have you got and what are they supposed to get? You know, that's it. Oh, we've got an exceptional children's program. We have learning disabled. We have an autistic class, and we've got self-contained. This is what they're supposed to get. We do an inclusion model, or we do a pull out, or we do a mainstreaming. What have you got? Do you have Title I or not? This is what we've got. This is what they're supposed to get. Do you have English as second language, whether it's ESL, ELL, ELP, ESA, whatever the acronym is? Do you have that? What are they supposed to get? Got an AG program? What are they supposed to get? Career and technical education? You got CTE program? What are they supposed to get? This greatly influences your master schedule, because this is the ones that come first. We have to make sure they get what the federal law, because the feds are paying for these programs. We have to deliver with fidelity what they want, because they're paying for the program and the teachers. Let me say that again. They're paying for the program and the teachers. So they get what they want. And if you misspend their money, you get fired. So they got to come first. So that's what we're talking about on internal context of your school. And that's what we're talking about in terms of what programs you've got. And then finally, what we're looking for is for you to talk with your principal about the school's budgeting process and how much input the school improvement team has in the local school budget. What chance do we have that the local school budget will support the school improvement plan, which is owned by the school improvement team, if the school improvement team does not have any part in the budgeting process? If the principal just decide where's the money going, are we sure it's going to support the school improvement plan that was created by the school improvement team? So what part do they play in the process of the local school budget? Schools have 4 types of money. Schools have 4 types of money. They have federal monies. That's what we're talking about. They have state monies that pay for teachers. They have local money that pay for facilities and some special programs, pay for the capital. And then they have their own local money that they have raised themselves. How are you spending that money? It's got to support the initiatives of your school improvement plan. So that's task 1. Read a couple of the examples that I've got. You'll see how that goes. It's pretty straightforward. Now, here's the trick, and I'm going to stop with this one tonight. This is my gift to you, but get it right. OMA Task 2, you've already done. Let me say that again. OMA Task 2, you've already done. It is task 1, 2, and 3 of the APTEL with simply the labels removed. And you plug that information into the tasks and prompts of OMA Task 2. APTEL, the second one you did, the one you did last semester, task 1, 2, and 3. That's why we had you do it the way we had you do it. If you read what you did and you read the directions, so you say, oh, that's what I did last semester. That is correct. It's a simple copy and paste. But take the task and prompts and label off of it. Let's at least do that. And last thing on that, don't get this wrong. Include the professional growth plan that you actually made, because that's what OMA Task 2 says. We have to show a professional growth plan. I can't tell you how many people copy task 1, 2, and 3, but leave the plan off. We want the plan. That's what we want, is the plan, the graphic organizer of that professional growth plan. Make sure it's included. When you do that, you'll have knocked out task 2. All of a sudden, folks, these tasks are going to be much quicker, much quicker. So this one, it goes really fast after you put, now the first task, give you a couple of weeks to put it together. Task 1's a lot of stuff to pull together. But then when you get to task 2, it's 30 minutes or less. It's dominoes, 30 minutes or less. All you got to do is copy and paste task 1, 2, 3 from the app till last semester. Make sure you got that graphic organizer, that professional growth plan. Take the labels off of it, plug it in, and you're on to task 3 immediately. Task 3 will be revamping your current schedule, and 4 will be your competencies. And then when we get to the skip later this semester, after you knock out, again, same thing with it. Task 1, once you get it knocked out, it's a little lengthy. After that, it goes big, it goes really fast. These things pick up, they go faster. You know what you're doing now. I shouldn't have to hold your hand too much, but I will. I'll be there. You put it in, you put it in the drop boxes, you put it in, in discussion board, I'll turn it around quickly. You only have to do 1 peer review of somebody in your group. Are our groups good? Everybody's good with their groups? Are we going to need to redo them? We've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of you. So what are we missing? 5 or 7 or something? How many should be in here? Let me look right quick. Let me share my screen so I can look. Let's look at our group. Okay, let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stewart is 10, 12. Yeah. So we're missing 5. So if you have a problem with your team and you need me to revisit that, I will do that. But otherwise, if your current team is good, you just keep on rolling. And that will be your team for you to review one another's tasks. Now, you only have to review tasks 1, 2, and 3. You don't even really have to do 2 of OMA. You do it, but you've already seen it, so it's not a big deal. Task 1, 2, and 3 of the OMA, and task 1, 2, and 3 is skip 1. No video reviews. Just do the written review to help your team member and move it on quickly. We're going to get our virtual collaboration through our case studies this semester. That's what we're going to focus our time on, not on doing video reviews. All right, so we're doing task 1 this week. We start in the OMA. If you need help, call me. Read the task and prompts. Look at the examples that I've given you. I'm trying to, I'm not trying to make this quick. I'm trying to get you to step up and start taking the initiative to do these things instead of the staff doing them for you. Again, gradual release, intentional abandonment, whatever you want to call it. I'm trying to shift more of the responsibility to you. This is the operations. This is the operations semester where this is about you stepping forward and knowing how to run things. We've let you kind of set back first 2 semesters, but you got to step forward if you're going to operate a school. You got to be the out front person. You got to be the person that gets it done. It's all changing your lens this semester from one side of the desk to the other. No more teacher lens. We let you be kind of safe and protected. No more teacher lens. You're going to have to pick up the pace and start changing, become a school administrator. And so I'm going to catch my breath, and I'm going to let Dr. Sane speak to that, since he's done that more recently than I have, about changing your lens and what, not only when he became a principal, but more now that he supervises principals, what he expects of them in terms of that operational piece. Dr. Sane?
Yeah, so that was when I was sitting where you all are. That was the toughest part, but truly your lens becomes what's best for kids. And what you're going to find is that sometimes what's best for teachers is how much planning time they have, when their planning time is, and that drives, or they're going to want you to drive your school plan. Everything's going to evolve around when they have recess, when they have planning. And that's not intentional, but again, they're advocating for themselves. But at the end of the day, what should advocate everything you do as a principal is what's best for students. And that means not what's best for their parents, not what's best for the teachers, but truly what's going to drive academic learning and academic success in your buildings. And that's tough. It's tough to do once you even get your principalship or you're an assistant principal. It takes some time, but But what Dr. Lamb is saying is that lens has to change, and it has to start now, because it's something that just can't happen overnight. You're going to have to prepare yourself, talk to yourself in the mirror, have those hard conversations, because they're not easy. It's not easy for you to go in as a first-year assistant principal and tell a fourth grade teacher that's been there for 27 years that she's not going to get the end of the day planning like she's always had, because her scores might be the lowest. And that's an elementary example, but I'm telling you, it's K-12. There are going to be teachers in your buildings who think that they know what's best because it best suits them. So those are, again, doesn't happen overnight. You got to practice, and what better place to start practicing than right here?
Thank you, Dr. Singh. That's exactly it. You got to be a champion for kids, not for teachers. I know that, one of the ladies I work with, Dr. Maraglia, she's in Charlotte Mecklenburg. She said the first time I interviewed to be a principal fellow at UNC Charlotte, I didn't get it, and everybody thought I was going to get it. I was and she said, but later on, the feedback came back to me is the mistake that I made is when I walked into that interview committee and said, I want to be a champion for teachers. That's why I want to be a school administrator. And they said, we can't use you. She got a little more seasoning the second time around and understood after teaching for a few years, school administration is not about it. I love teachers. I'm married to one in there for 37 years and curriculum. She became a curriculum instruction specialist, but I've been married to one for a long time. I was one a long time ago. But you can't run school for them because they want what's good for them. And they think that's what's good for kids, but it's not always. After a while, you think your name's on the deed, not just the door. And you got to start. And so we give you a couple semesters to kind of get your feet on the ground instructionally about, doing data dives, instruction and assessment, those kinds of things. But now this semester, we got to start changing our lens to an operational piece. We got to go out and start getting things done, being self-sufficient, being able to gather data without somebody putting their finger on everything that we do. I will support you. I'll be here. You call me. I'll turn your work around. But I can't continue to give you that. Do this, don't do that, and just walk you through every piece like the first two semesters. I know I talked with Dr. Neal a little bit earlier this evening. Her and Dr. I know they did some of that they began to wing you a little bit last semester, but we're going to have to completely wing you this semester to the point we won't even give you an outline for the skip. You got to make your own. We got to get you to that mode. If we don't, we do you a tremendous disservice. You won't make it. You get a year and a half as an AP to decide if you're going to make it or not. You get a year and a half. You get a 2-year contract. At mid-year, your second year, they tell you yes or no, that this is for you, or no, it's not. And please remember that there is no obligation for them to give you another job, to put you back in the classroom. It's a risk, and if we don't prepare you, then we've not done well for you. So make sure that you understand that. So you've got task 1, you've got your case studies. Again, we'll talk more about the case study. It's not due till week 6. So about week 3, we'll talk more about that. What I want to spend time on now to kind of finish this up tonight, I'm trying to get us out actually for the only time would be ever a few minutes early, so that you can talk to us a little bit tonight. I want us to look at our weekly assignments. Now, weekly assignments in this is a lot of what I call coming and going, to and fro. There's no read a chapter, write a paper stuff here. We're going to get you out there. This is the deal. We're going to get you out there, and have you start doing things, and becoming independent, and becoming and starting to fulfill that promise of leadership. So your first one, locate copies of your school emergency plan. You got to go ask somebody, where is this stuff? Read school law to assess that plan. Examine a school district field trip policy. Assuming that you're a supervisor, and you're on the bus when a car rear ends the bus, what are you going to do? financial responsibility since 1992, tort liability in North Carolina, which means if you do something wrong, they can come get your house, not just the school districts. We all had to be trained by Richard Schwartz and Associates in 1992. All the principals in the state had to go through that. Observe a due process in the school. That's a disciplinary incident. And report what surprised you the most about observing that AP process that kid's discipline. Interview that same AP or school disciplinarian. What's their biggest concern about processing disciplinary incidents? What system of discipline does your school use to guide your decision making? Do you use PBIS? Do you use a code of conduct? Do you use a combination of both? Do you use the old assertive discipline? Do you use discipline with dignity? What do you use? You better know what it is. Examine a school district policy on cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is the most misunderstood policy or law in North Carolina for schools. There's a whole lot of stupid people who think cyberbullying was repealed. It was not. The only thing that was repealed was the piece about Twitter wars. If me and Tanya are involved in a Twitter war and I start losing, I can't claim I'm bullied. But all the rest of it, you say, well, if it don't happen at my school or if I own my machine, where it happens, immaterial. What machine was used is immaterial. If it comes to school, you have to deal with it. And you better get the police involved. And I'll tell that story later. You better know about cyberbullying. Attend an IEP meeting. Who was present and in charge of the meeting? What decisions were made? Who's in charge? Who makes decisions? Interview the chair of your intervention team. You sometimes call SST, care team, SBC, whatever. Most of the time now, this is MTSS. Your intervention people. What is the 90 days before the 90 days? The 3-tier system. Interview an administrator concerning HR hiring practices. Now, equal EEOC, due process for hiring is the same for everybody. What differs is every school district does it differently in terms of who does what, where, when, and why. When I was in Charlotte, Mecklenburg, all I had to do was just call up my analyst and say, send me 3 candidates. They'd already been background checked. They'd already done all their references. They had all their transcripts. Everything was done. When I was in Burke County as principal there, none of it was done. I had to do it all. The same process, but who does it? You better know, because if you get that one wrong, again, that's federal. You don't do that but one time. You got to get that one right. All the federal stuff, you got to be really, really, just like EC program, you got to be really good at what you do. You can't leave anything to chance. Interview that same HR person about employee assistance, compensation plan, and benefits. You can get tripped up on those with existing employees, like if they have substance abuse issues. If your district has employee assistance, sometimes you can't take any punitive action against them. You need to know those kinds of things. Do a facilities walkthrough. I'll give you a document. If your district doesn't have one, I bet all of you knew that you had to do a monthly fire drill in your school. I bet not many of you knew that also twice a month you're required to do a facilities walkthrough. Didn't know that and document it. Well, we'll teach you about how to do that, because that'll be your job as a new AP. You'll have to do that. All the dirty jobs I've got on this list, because that's what you'll have to do first. Interview a school administrator about fundraising. Oh my God, fundraising is just, if I had hair, it'd fall out. But you need to understand how fundraising works in your district. We'll cover how it works in Charlotte. Interview a school administrator and list the 5 most important steps in school-based budgeting. Now, full disclosure, they'll all tell you something different. All I'm really interested in is that they actually have a plan, that they have an actual important steps or a process that they go through, not just whoever hollers the loudest, that they actually have a plan on how they budget their school. Locate a copy of your school budget. Does it contain federal, state, local, and school funds? Is anything missing? Respond to case study. Here, examine a school district policy on harassment. What would you do if a 10th grade female came to you and said she was being sexually harassed by her male softball coach? And so that's it. So as you can see, there's a lot of getting you out there kind of things. We're trying to push you out of your classroom and get you out of your comfort zone to be talking with people down at your own office and at the central office. about these very important things that you can't get wrong. These are the hot spot things that you cannot get wrong. You can't misspend federal money. You can't misspend your budget money. You got to know, you got to do safety of your building now. You know, I hate to start out with the safety and the crisis plan first, but I have to now. You've been paying attention to what's going on in school in the last 10 years. That's got to come first now. I was high school principal, full disclosure, during both Jonesboro, Arkansas and Columbine, which started the modern era of schooling, by the way. I was high school principal during both of those. I hate to say it, but that has to come first now. I wish something else did, but the safety security piece has to come first. Sad but true. Commentary on society, but that's the way it works. All right, I made it. I got just on time here. So what I want to do right quick is make sure that you introduce us, and hopefully our other colleagues will join us soon. I want you to introduce us. So Sonia, tell us where you are and what you do.
I'm Sonia Wingate. I am from Wilson, North Carolina, but I do work for Nash Rocky Mount. Currently, I am an EC teacher. So the EC piece is going to be kind of easy for me.
Yeah. Well, you'll be our resident expert then. I always call on somebody. There's an EC teacher in every section. I always call on you. You get to teach class that night.
But right now, that's what I'm doing. I've been with Nash Rocky Mount for 8 years. I've been in EC for 17. So that's me.
Well, I was never an EC teacher, but I am EC, I think. So we'll get along great. I'm so glad to have you. And I also, you're from Wilson. I haven't been to Don Murray's lately, but I'm gonna get there.
Oh, come on down.
I need to get there. I got to, absent that, I guess I'll have to go to Parker's. But if I can get to Don Murray's, I'm coming that way.
You can go to either Parker's or Marty's now.
Yep. I got to get there. I've got a friend that her family is from Princeton, and about once every other month, she sends me a picture from Wilbur's and Goldsboro just to make me mad. Those are my favorite places in the world, as you can tell. I might have eaten a plate or two of barbecue. But Sonia, welcome. Tanya.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Spate, and I currently teach 8th grade math for middle school in Pitt County. And I also live here in Pitt County. This is I'm going into my 19th year of teaching. I've been in Pitt County. This is going on my 11th year.
Well, welcome. Dr. Sheena Caton.
She told me. I thought I was going to have her this time.
Yeah, well, they made me actually ask to work. I hate that. I was hoping that her and Dr. Maraglia would have this, but they said I had to teach something for my professorship. I hate it when I have to work. But I'm glad to be with you. But yeah, she's at Aiden Grifton there in Pitt. That's a good place too.
Yeah.
I like hanging out in the eastern part of the state. That's good people.
And she came over to our school. She was helping our team of scheduling team, giving us some pointers on some things to do.
Yeah, she's really good. That's why I have her teach this for us. She's really good at it.
Yeah.
And you'd probably been better off with her, but I had to work a little bit. Tyler, how are you tonight?
Good, sir. Hope you're doing well. I'm Tyler Talman. I am an assistant principal at Alexander Central High School. I got hired back in December, right before Christmas. So that's when I started there. I've taught math, science in 7th grade, and I've also taught health and PE 6 through 12. I live in Iredell County. I've taught in Iredell, Catawba, and now I'm in Alexander.
So where are you? Where do you live in Iredell?
I live in Statesville.
Yeah.
Right near West Iredell. You know Benjamin Johnson?
I do know Ben. That's why Ben was one of mine from up there. He was my intern.
Yeah, it's great. He's a great one.
He really is. He's one of my favorites. Yeah. And when he had a birthday this week, was principal at West Idle when Ben was there. And then Ben was downtown. Todd, what was his name that was principal at West Idle? He popped up on my Facebook thing today. It
Holden.
was his birthday.
Todd Holden.
Todd Holden. That's exactly right. It's Todd's birthday today.
Yeah.
Good people there. But you're up at Alexander Central now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I go to Taylorsville every now and then. Up 16, I go to Linden's there on the river.
Mhm.
That's one of my. I have a lot of different compulsions or I guess addictions, and so I have to go by Linden's pretty regularly. That's the only place. That's not an eating place, by the way. That's a gun shop, so I have to go by there.
There you go.
That's you can kind of tell what level I operate at, but love the people in Alexander. When I was in Burke, I knew all the folks over there, good people, a lot of still good people, some folks that work with us over there, good place. But so you've already moved into the assistant principalship, and so that's great.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations to you. Hopefully that you will learn something with us that will be a benefit or that has benefited you so far, but very pleased and congratulations to you. That's great. Thank you. Jennifer?
Hello, I'm Jennifer Mahaffey. I teach sixth grade at Waynesville Middle School in Haywood County, and this is my 21st year of teaching. I teach 3 regular blocks and then 1 block of inclusion, English language arts.
And so you're at Waynesville.
Mm-hmm.
That's Haywood County.
Correct. Yep, Haywood County.
Yeah. And so, every time I go to Cherokee, that's where I get off right there and get on the
Mhm.
bypass there on 74 and go around. I stay just down the mountain from you there during the week when I'm at Gardner Webb. I'm at Lake Norman tonight, but I stay in Lake Louisville.
Oh,
So
okay.
not too far from you during the week, be on the right side of the world. I have to stay in the west. I love
we're
the
very lucky where we live. We're close
oh,
to
yeah.
Cherokee, Tennessee,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Asheville, everywhere.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at a curio right now that's full of Allen Queen's pottery from Cherokee.
Oh, nice.
That's our deal. We go to Cherokee, go to Quala, the Arts Center, and we go. We've already got a trip planned for next month.
Have you tried the fry bread at Paul's before? Paul's restaurant?
Look at me. Tried everything, everywhere.
I was just gonna say, if you haven't tried it, you should try it.
Yeah, it's great. But no, that's growing up in that area as a kid, going every summer and getting a bullwhip, moccasins and all that. I guess that's politically incorrect nowadays. But
No, I can remember going and doing it. And when they had the teepees on the side of the road, and you get your picture made with Chief Henry, it was a different time.
Yeah, it was a different time. That's exactly right. But I love that part of the world. I think, I love the East and the West. I love the places that aren't the populated places in the state where people are still kind of real. That just like Tyler was talking about, the folks in Alexander, out at West Ireland, those kind of places, eastern part of the state. Love the folks in these. I loved working in Goldsboro. I loved being in Rocky Mount. A lot of good people, a lot of good places in the state. It's a little bit different when you get to the more populated places, and but I appreciate. That's why I said I stay in that part of the world during the week. It makes me calm. I enjoy it. It's a good place.
I'm definitely blessed to have grown up here and to be raising my children here for sure.
Yes, exactly. Laura?
Okay, good. Hey, I'm Laura Akers. Sorry, I have my daughter's say hey.
Hey.
This is Lucy, so she's definitely my sidekick. I teach at Lincoln Charter School. I teach 5th grade language arts. This is my 13th year in education and my 8th year at Lincoln Charter. No, you're good. You don't have to take the bath. Will you go visit Daddy?
So you're at Lincoln Charter?
Yes.
Gosh, we've had a lot of students from there.
Yes.
We had, when your building opened, I think we had the AP Michael. I'm trying to remember Michael's last name. Of course, that's just across the water. I'm on the actual east end of the lake, and you're just on the other side of the lake over past Denver over there.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people. That's like he's their chief administrator, Dr. Bryant. He just finished up his
Yep.
doctorate with you guys.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that come through Garden Web, but I chose Garden Web because it was also my undergrad. So I was like,
Yeah.
this is easy for me. So it was an easy
Yeah.
transition, but with a lot of people who, I work with who have attended Lincoln Charter, they've with Lincoln Charter have come to Gardner Web. It was kind of.
Yeah, we've had about everybody that's been an administrator there has come through us. We've had Andrew Masseri, who's at
Pine Lake Prep.
Pine Lake. He
Mhm.
was mine. Adam at Community School of Davidson. I mean, all the charter schools around. We those are all our folks. We love them.
Yeah.
The one in Best Collegiate downtown next to WBTV on Moorhead, the actual headmaster there was my doctoral student, and I think we've got 3 there now. We keep, we have tried to. We've got, what we would love to do is start a doctoral cohort of just charter school people. That's one of those dream things that we'd like to do. Seriously, I mean, that's what we would like to do, but we haven't been, and we talked to the charter school people in Raleigh and did all those things. And so we'd like for, one of them to maybe give us a hand with that and be kind of like, a guest lecturer or even be an instructor. We'd like to have somebody from that, but yeah, Lincoln Charter has been one of our better places, and it's a good place. We really,
Yeah, it's a great school, and I'm on my
Yeah.
children go there, so
Yeah.
and my daughter will eventually. So it's
we're not, no, we're a big supporter.
yeah, they've been super great and encouraging me to go through this process and in this program.
Yes.
So last year they actually hired me on like as a part-time assistant principal. So they gave me a pay raise to kind of start into this process and not just getting those internship hours. So I definitely got a lot of hands-on firsthand
That's
experience.
great.
This is awesome.
That's absolutely great. Austin, can you hear us? I see you're on your phone.
Yes, I'm just heading home. Austin Miller. I'm at Charleston County School of the Arts in Charleston County in South Carolina. I teach U.S. history. This is my 9th year teaching and 9th year in Charleston County.
Well, great. We got 3 from North Charleston, Somerville area, new ones this fall. And so we've done really well down in that area. A lot of folks from Somerville and North Charleston. So we're glad to have you. That's again, one of those wonderful places that I hadn't been in a minute, but I used to go regularly when my next door neighbor, his son played at the Citadel. We were there a lot then. When Phil's son Taylor Journey played, he was a linebacker there, number 47.
Well, if we could get all the people from Ohio to stop coming down, traffic would be a lot better.
Yeah, yeah, all the transplants. But again, thank you for being with us tonight. And I guess our last one is Anisha. Is she still on? All right.
Yes. Can you see me?
I can. There you are. Okay. You moved. So yeah. All right. You're with us. All right. Tell us about you.
I used to work for Johnston County Preschool Evaluation Team Center, but I just got my intern. My intern came through for Benson Elementary.
Okay.
As an AP, along with some other job duties.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I still have to work, my regular job, but I did get that. I am from the place that you were talking about, close to the place, which is Seven Springs, North Carolina. So I know where Chinkapin is.
You know where Chinkapin is. You know I wasn't telling the story.
No.
That's out in the middle of nowhere, isn't it?
I grew up in Duplin County, so I pretty much know how that maneuvers.
Yeah.
but I live in Princeton, North Carolina, and from Seven Springs.
Yeah, and so you're in Princeton, which is right there on the line at Goldsboro.
Mhm.
You're from there. You're from Princeton. That's what I was talking about. Dr. Caton's partner, Dr. Maraglia, is from Princeton. That's where she grew up, in Princeton. And I did a good bit of work there at a couple of their schools a few years back when I was working for Gardner Webb in Goldsboro. When we were downtown at the old high school before we moved to the new high school. We moved to Wayne Community College from the old high school. But I did a PD with them there. We did some work there at Princeton at the elementary school. That's a good place. But you're at Benson, which is a different part of the county.
Yes, it's all the way down 95.
I was gonna say that's a
95
little
south.
that's a little haul every morning trying to get down there. But if you can get on the interstate without the traffic, it's not too bad. Not too bad. But yeah, that's good. There's been a little, as you know more than me, a little upheaval. One of our folks, Ben Williams, was your interim there for a little bit. Ben moved on, but he's up in Wilson now. So Ben Williamson, so he's moved on. But yeah, we've got a lot of folks there, a lot of friends, a lot of folks who work with us there in the county. So that's a good place to be as well. Well, I see we're on our time tonight. I appreciate you being with me tonight. We'll dive into our content starting next week. Make sure you look that OMA over and get started with that. Get in touch with your colleagues and tell them to come to class. It won't be that bad. Everything will be good. But hopefully we'll have a fuller house next week. I wanted to get it started a week early. This is a week early. But I wanted to get us started so we want to knock both of those evidences out. Dr. Sane, thank you again tonight for being with us and being our resident expert here with our group. Thank all of you for attending. As always, thanks for choosing Gardner Webb, and I'll see you next Monday. Everybody have a good week. Thank you.
You have a good night.
Dr.
night.
Lamb,
Yes.
Dr. Lamb, is there a town hall tomorrow night?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just going to be a quick and dirty to remind you of your responsibilities. I have to do Gardner Webb requires that you have an academic advisement session every semester. I'll just tell you, do your Blackboard and task stream work. Have a good evening. That's really all it is just, we sign you up for the same classes. There's really no advisement fees. But they require that you go through an advisement piece, especially if you, I guess that's a federal requirement for financial aid. Is that what that is? I guess that's what that is. And they require an advisement session, but trust me, it will be brief.
Okay.
Paquito, it'll be small. So it won't take us but a minute.
Okay.
No new information, nothing new. It'll just be, come to class, do your work. Here's what you got to do in Blackboard. Here's what you got to do in task stream, just like we did tonight. We'll speak more of that.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good
see you
week.
tomorrow night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.